Hey everyone, Mike Andes here. Wanted to go over some updates and improvements of the new version of P4P that we just rolled out, and lots of changes coming out today. I know we didn't have the office hours last Saturday. I was out of town. However, we are making a lot of progress, and today's some big updates. So looking forward to it. We have a lot more coming down the pipe, and I'm looking forward to sharing those as well. So let me go ahead and jump in. The first ones are pretty small, but necessary. And I know these are zeros, we're fixing that right now. But what we have changed on this main homepage is the fact that there's now the efficiency score, which is simply your budget hours divided by your clocked hours. It's a great percentage to be able to keep track of over the course of time for your employees. Extremely awesome. Also added it to the employee's mobile device because it makes a lot of sense and it's just an easy number for them to understand. It's like, oh, like 79% of my day I spend actually doing budget hours versus just wasting time driving or unloading and loading or going to the gas station or wherever it might be. So just a great addition to the monthly metrics. What we have done on the employee side on their mobile app is replace labor revenue with the efficiency score. A lot of them don't understand labor revenue and even just knowing the math of that. But the efficiency score makes a lot of sense. So now on the employee side, they're going to see their per hour earned, their efficiency score, which is budget hours divided by clocked hours, their total budget hours, and their total clocked hours. They're just going to see those four charts now on their mobile device. Again, if you see a flat line here, just make sure you go up to your snapshots, select your months, and update those. It'll take a minute, and then these will get updated correctly. All right, really cool update. On the employee app, the employees can now request for an adjustment. It's called an adjustment request on the mobile app, and it has an optional description field where they can type in what they were doing. So they can say, hey, look, I did non-revenue producing tasks like sharpening blades or shop maintenance or whatever it might be, and they can request for an adjustment. If they do that, they can put a description in of what they did, and then you can simply accept it when you're putting information in the time card. So on the time card, that request adjustment will show up. You can accept or decline it. If you accept it, it'll turn that request into a manual adjustment and everything will go smoothly. Really, really awesome. So any sort of non-billable task, instead of you having to have like a clipboard, or they have to put it up on the whiteboard or ask you, or you have to track it manually inside your CRM, now they can just simply request that manual adjustment on the P4P app. You can accept it from the time card. It'll be turned into a manual adjustment. Now, the big update for today that I wanted to show is the ability now to assign employees on projects. 90% of our users probably will not use this feature, and that's fine. But for those of you who do big projects, this is something you've been asking for a long time. And let me show you what it looks like. So in the past, you've always typically taken a project and assigned from the time card. However, the pain in the butt with that is you've got to assign people's clocked hours every single day to that project. Now what you can do when you create a project, you're going to see it look like this. So I'm going to do Mike test, and I'm going to do, okay, we're going to do a property cleanup. We're also going to do a paver patio. Great. This one's going to be 50 hours at 80 bucks a pop. This one's going to be 80 hours at $100 a pop. Okay, great. So you got $12,000 of labor revenue. This is where you typically stop. And the vast majority of people, if you're not doing projects above 4 or 5 days that you're on the property, I'd recommend just doing it the way you've always done it, and that is assign the clocked hours to projects and stop here. However, if you're doing massive projects like this one, you might want it to make it where now the employees can clock into the project and you don't have to assign hours. And better yet, you can assign them to individual items in the project. So instead of getting the report at the end of the project that says, oh, there was 300 hours on the job and he took 250. Now you'll be able to say, oh, this individual item took 40 hours. This individual item took 50 hours. This individual item took 100 hours. So what that means now is you can assign employees. It's like, hey, I know I want Lee, I want Chuck, I want Logan to all see this when they clock in. Now when they clock in on the P4P app, they can actually punch directly into the project. So when you're creating the time card, you don't have to assign their shift time to that project. It also means that if someone's only working there for half the day, they can punch in and out of that job. You don't have to go look in the CRM or track their truck and see how long they were at that job for the day. Okay. Now, what's really cool is you can also assign items. What this means is now you can go to the paper patio because I created the item up here. And say, you know what? I want Lee and Chuck to see that item and be able to punch directly into it. And I go to the cleanup. And like, well, I want Logan and Chuck to be able to see that line item and be able to punch directly into it. So now you can get more granular detail of how efficient are we on individual line items of the project instead of just the entire project as a whole. So again, this is for people that do bigger projects, are on the property for usually a week or two at least, and then you can go back and see who else has assigned. So now the employee from their app can clock directly not only into the project, but also into the individual items. Again, this is all completely optional. You do not have to fill in this bottom spot. You can still do it where you assign the time card and take the shift length directly to the project. You can absolutely do that. In the next week or two, we're going to be adding to that same vein the ability, if you're not setting up the projects beforehand and having your employees clock into individual projects or items, we're going to have it where instead of when you do this part, project, there'll be a little button here that says plus, and it'll just automatically take the shift length and add it to the project hours worked. So instead of you having to always do that manually, it'll just be automatic. However, if you're doing projects for a long period of time, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks that you're on the property, I would recommend creating a project, assigning it to employees, and when they punch in and out on the app, they'll be able to go directly into the app, clock their time on that project, and it'll show it directly right here. So we're looking forward to this update. Lots more coming in the next couple of weeks, and then we'll be starting to work on the CRM integration with Copilot. So that way, all of this data, the hourly rate, the budget hours, the number of people in the crew, the projects they're assigned, all of that, our goal is to make this all basically automatic, including when the employees clock in on Copilot, it'll automatically create them a time card inside of P4P. So lots of cool updates coming, and I appreciate all your support. Take care.